Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself at the age of 80. Your hands are weaker, your steps are slower, and your days feel shorter. Now imagine looking back at your entire life, but instead of joy you feel a heavy pain in your chest, the pain of regret. The truth is, most people don't regret what they did, they regret what they never did. And if you don't open your eyes today, you might end up carrying the same silent weight at 80. Regret 1. Not taking care of health early enough. When you sit with people in their 80s, one of the first things you'll notice is that almost every conversation circles back to health. You can hear it in their voices, see it in the way they walk, and feel it in the silence between their words. The truth is simple but painful. Many people regret not taking care of their health earlier in life. Think about it. When you're young or even in middle age, you feel like your body is invincible. You stay up late, eat whatever you like, skip exercise, ignore medical checkups, and tell yourself, "I'll deal with it later." But later comes, and it comes faster than you think. At 80, later is no longer a choice. It's the present reality. I once heard an elderly man say, "I wasted my health chasing money, and now I'm spending my money chasing health, but I can never fully buy it back." Those words strike deep because they are true for so many. Health is the foundation of everything. Without it, success feels empty, relationships suffer, and even simple joys, like walking in the park or playing with grandchildren, become painful or impossible. The tragedy is that most people only realize this when it's too late. They look back and wish they had walked more, eaten better, slept earlier, or gone for regular checkups. They regret ignoring the little warning signs their body gave them. A small pain in the knee, a sudden rise in blood pressure, constant fatigue, all brushed aside in the rush of daily life. And then one day it's not a small issue anymore. It's a disease, a disability, or a permanent limitation. Imagine reaching 80 and realizing you spent decades building a life you can no longer enjoy because your body is too weak to carry it. That's the kind of regret that crushes the soul. But here's the good news: this regret is avoidable. You don't have to wait until your 80s to wake up. You can begin now. How to avoid this regret? Treat your body like an investment, not a machine. Every bite of food, every hour of sleep, every minute of exercise is an investment. Just like you put money in a bank account, you're depositing strength into your future. If you keep withdrawing without depositing, the account empties, and once it's gone, rebuilding becomes almost impossible. Build non-negotiable daily habits. Health doesn't come from big, dramatic actions. It comes from small, consistent choices. A 30-minute walk every day, stretching in the morning, drinking water instead of soda. These tiny acts build up over decades into a body that carries you with strength instead of dragging you with pain. Prioritize sleep and recovery. We live in a world that glorifies hustle and burns people out. But your body isn't a machine. It heals when you rest. The people who reach 80 with the least regret are often those who respected their body's limits, rather than trying to conquer them. Don't ignore checkups. Many life-threatening illnesses, from heart disease to cancer, can be managed or even cured if caught early. But most people avoid doctors because they don't want to hear bad news. Ironically, ignoring the checkup often leads to worse news later. Think long-term joy, not short-term pleasure. Eating junk food, smoking, or drinking excessively might give you short-term pleasure, but it steals long-term joy. The ability to move, dance, laugh, and live freely at 80 is worth far more than a momentary indulgence at 30. The deeper lesson. Here's something powerful to reflect on. Your health is not just about you. When you neglect your health, you also create regret in the lives of those who love you. Your children, your spouse, your friends, they all suffer when you can no longer walk with them, share adventures, or simply be present without constant illness. One of the most heartbreaking regrets elders share is this: "I became a burden to my family because I didn't take care of myself when I had the chance." These words are filled with both sorrow and wisdom. If you want to live without regret at 80, you need to realize this now: self-care is not selfish. It is the greatest gift you can give to your future self and to the people you love. Regret 2. Not expressing love and forgiveness enough. When you talk to people in their 80s, you notice something haunting in their eyes. It's not just the weight of age or the weakness of the body. It's something deeper, the silent tears of words they never spoke. At 80, many people realize that the things they regret most aren't the mistakes they made, but the moments of love they never shared, and the forgiveness they withheld for far too long. They regret not telling their parents how much they truly loved them before it was too late. They regret not saying, "I'm sorry," to a sibling after years of silence. They regret not hugging their children tighter or telling their spouse more often, "You mean the world to me." Life moves so quickly that we often assume there will always be more time. We think, "I'll call them tomorrow. I'll visit next week. I'll apologize when the moment feels right." But then one day tomorrow never comes. The person is gone, or the relationship has become too broken to repair. And you are left with a heart full of words that will never be heard. This is one of the heaviest regrets people carry at 80. The pain of unspoken love. Imagine being 80 and sitting in a quiet room, holding a photograph of someone you loved dearly but never told enough. Maybe it's a mother who worked tirelessly for you, but you were too busy chasing your own dreams to say thank you. Maybe it's a father who never asked for praise, but silently sacrificed everything for you. Or maybe it's a partner who stood by you in storms, but you rarely showed appreciation because you assumed they'd always be there. At that age, the photos remain but the people don't. And all you can whisper is, "I wish I had told you more often how much you meant to me." It's not the absence of love that creates regret, it's the failure to express it. Because love unspoken feels like love wasted. New Moon, the weight of withheld forgiveness. Then there's the other side of this regret, the grudges we carry. So many people at 80 confess that they wasted years, sometimes decades, holding on to anger or bitterness. They refuse to forgive a sibling over an argument. They stopped talking to a friend because of one misunderstanding. They let pride build walls between them and the people they cared about most. And now at 80, they sit in silence wishing they had let go sooner. Here's the truth. When you hold on to anger, you think you're punishing the other person. But in reality, you're poisoning yourself. Anger robs you of peace, joy, and precious time that can never be reclaimed. Imagine how painful it must be to realize at 80 that you spent your one short life clinging to grudges, while the chance for reconciliation slipped through your fingers. How to avoid this regret. Say, "I love you" more often. Don't wait for birthdays, anniversaries, or funerals. Say it today. Call your parents, hug your spouse, tell your children, remind your friends. These 3 words, spoken sincerely, carry more power than you can imagine. Apologize quickly. Don't let pride rob you of peace. An apology costs nothing but can save a lifetime of regret. Even if you weren't fully wrong, choose peace over ego. Forgive, not for them but for you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing someone's behavior. It means freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. Create rituals of connection. Instead of waiting for big moments, build small rituals. A weekly family dinner, a daily check-in call, writing letters of gratitude. These small acts create bonds that last a lifetime. Speak before it's too late. Don't assume you'll have time. If you love someone, tell them now. If you need to make peace, do it today. The most heartbreaking words you can ever say are, "I wish I had told them while I still had the chance." Seedling the deeper lesson. Love and forgiveness are not luxuries. They are essentials. At 80, you won't care about the car you drove, the house you lived in, or the money you earned. But you will deeply care about the people you loved and whether you made them feel truly valued. One of the most powerful lessons elders teach us is this: time is shorter than you think. You don't get endless chances to repair relationships. Every moment you stay silent, every day you hold on to anger, every time you postpone love, you're gambling with a clock that never stops ticking. Here's the sobering reality: the graveyards are full of unsent apologies and unspoken love. Don't add yours to the count. Regret 3. Wasting too much time on the wrong things. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You're 80 years old, sitting in a chair by the window watching the sun go down. You think about your life, the decades you lived, the opportunities you had, the years that passed. And then it hits you: most of that precious time was spent on things that never really mattered. This is one of the most crushing regrets people confess at 80. I wasted too much time. The silent thief of life. Time is the one resource we can never earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and replace them. But once a day is gone, it's gone forever. And yet, most people live as if their time is unlimited. At 80, people realize just how much of their life they spent on distractions, toxic relationships, meaningless work, or endless worry. They remember the hours scrolling, the years trapped in jobs they hated, the energy wasted on people who didn't value them, and the countless moments lost to fear instead of courage. I once heard an old woman say something chilling: "I spent my life ironing clothes, cleaning rooms, and watching television, while the people I loved most kept growing older. And now they are gone. I traded moments with them for routines that didn't matter." This is the kind of regret that comes not from what you did wrong, but from what you never truly lived. The illusion of later. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, "I'll do it later. I'll travel later. I'll spend time with family later. I'll chase my dreams later. I'll rest later." But here's the truth: later never comes. At 80, you realize that later was just an illusion. Life kept moving forward while you kept waiting for the perfect time. And suddenly, you look back and realize that the perfect time was always now. How many people delay joy because they're waiting for the weekend, the promotion, the retirement, or the right season of life? The harsh truth is this. Most people die with their music still inside them, waiting for later, that never arrives. The wrong priorities. When people reflect at 80, another painful truth emerges. They chased the wrong things. They prioritized money over memories, status over love, and comfort over courage. They regret working long hours to afford a bigger house, while missing their children's childhood. They regret worrying endlessly about what others thought of them instead of living authentically. They regret chasing possessions that eventually broke, faded, or lost value, while ignoring the experiences that would have filled their souls. At 80, these choices look empty. The medals, the promotions, the bank accounts, they all seem meaningless compared to the time lost with loved ones, the dreams never pursued, and the moments of peace that were traded for stress. How to avoid this regret? Value your time like gold. Ask yourself every day, is this worth an hour of my life? Because that's what you're giving away, not just time but pieces of your life. Cut out what drains you. Toxic people, endless arguments, meaningless work, they drain your energy and your years. Protect your time fiercely. Say no more often. Prioritize what matters. Relationships, health, purpose, and joy should always come before material pursuits. Before saying yes to another overtime shift, ask, will this matter at 80? Turn off distractions. Social media, TV, and digital noise consume hours that could be spent building memories, learning, or connecting. At 80, no one says, I wish I had scrolled more. Do what you fear, now. Start the business. Write the book. Say, I love you. Travel to the place you dream about. Don't wait. Regret grows in the space between what you wanted to do and what you actually did. The deeper lesson. The real tragedy of wasted time is not just lost years, it's lost life. Every day you spend living someone else's dream, every hour you waste on meaningless pursuits, every moment you trade for fear instead of courage, is a piece of your soul slipping away. At 80, people realize something powerful. Life is not measured in years but in moments. And if you don't fill your moments with meaning, your years will feel empty, no matter how long you live. Here's the sobering truth, the clock never stops. Every second you're writing the story of your life. The question is, are you writing a story you'll be proud to read at 80, or one filled with blank pages of wasted time? Regret 4. Not living true to yourself. When people reach the age of 80, one truth hits harder than almost any other. They spent too much of their lives living for others, and not enough living for themselves. This is perhaps the most universal regret of all. It's not about health, not about relationships, not even about time. It's about authenticity. At 80, countless people whisper the same painful confession. I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The prison of expectations. From the moment we are born, society begins shaping us. Parents tell us what career we should choose. Friends pressure us to fit in. Culture tells us what success should look like. And slowly we begin to silence our own voice. We choose a job we hate because it looks respectable. We marry someone because it feels safe, not because it's love. We hide our dreams because they seem unrealistic. We live cautiously because others might judge us. And year by year, decision by decision, we build a life that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside. At 80, the mask comes off. You can't lie to yourself anymore. You look back and realize you betrayed your own soul just to keep others happy. That realization cuts deeper than any physical pain. The dreams buried alive. Many elderly people carry with them a secret graveyard, a graveyard of dreams. The book they always wanted to write but never started. The business idea they had but never dared to pursue. The places they wanted to travel but always postponed. The passions they felt but never allowed themselves to follow. Those dreams never disappeared, they simply died inside them. And at 80 they see the tombstones of all those unlived possibilities. That regret is heavier than any failure because failure teaches you but never trying haunts you forever. The cost of conformity. Living for others comes at a price. Your peace, your joy, your authenticity. You waste decades trying to please people who probably weren't even thinking about you. You deny your true self because you fear criticism, yet critics forget you the moment you leave the room. You sacrifice your inner voice, only to realize later that it was the only compass you ever needed. At 80, people realize that conformity gave them temporary approval but stole their lifelong fulfillment. How to avoid this regret? Listen to your inner voice. Deep inside you already know what you truly want. The problem is you've been trained to ignore it. Spend quiet time with yourself, journaling, reflecting, meditating. Ask, What do I really want? Not what others expect, but what I desire? Stop living for approval. People's opinions change constantly. Today they criticize you, tomorrow they forget you. Don't waste your one life trying to impress people who won't even matter at your funeral. Take small steps toward your true life. You don't need to quit everything and start over. Start small. If you want to paint, buy a canvas. If you want to travel, book a short trip. If you want to start a business, test a small idea. Authentic living begins with small, courageous steps. Accept failure as part of living. Many people avoid chasing their dreams because they fear failure. But here's the truth. Failure is temporary, regret is permanent. Which one would you rather carry at 80? Surround yourself with authentic people. Being true to yourself is easier when you're not surrounded by people who constantly judge. Seek friends who encourage your growth, not ones who clip your wings. The deeper lesson. Living true to yourself isn't selfish. It's the only way to truly live. When you honor your passions, your values, your purpose, you not only free yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Think about it. The people we admire most in history weren't the ones who blindly followed rules. They were the ones who dared to live authentically. At 80, you don't want to look back and realize you lived as a copy when you were born to be an original. Here's the sobering truth. You don't get another life. This is it. If you don't live it your way, you'll spend your final years wishing you had the courage to do so. Closing, powerful ending to the whole video. So here we are. The 4 greatest regrets most people carry after 80. Not taking care of health early enough. Not expressing love and forgiveness enough. Wasting too much time on the wrong things. Not living true to yourself. These regrets are not just warnings, they are gifts from those who walked before us. They are messages from the future, whispering back to us in the present. Don't make the same mistakes. The question is not whether you will reach 80. The question is, when you get there, will you look back with regret or with peace? The answer depends on the choices you make today. Because one day the clock will stop ticking for you too. And when it does, may you smile with gratitude, not weep with regret.